welcome back to another episode of the Strong Collectors Podcast. My name is Dakota.
And my name is Jordan.
And today we're going to be covering some of the Mcfarlane releases. I know we usually do Marvel Legends, but Jordan's been dabbling in the Mcfarlanes recently. I've been dabbling in the Mcfarlanes a little bit longer and a little stronger than Jordan. But nonetheless, we thought it was worth mentioning. We're still going to talk about the Marvel Legends that we've gotten. We also had the drop of the new Hawkeye and Kate Bishop today. So if you wanted to get those are up for pre-order. The rest of the wave's not, so that's still a mystery. But I think those will be coming out pretty shortly. I think we'll know at least a few of those figures, maybe by the end of the month. But without any further... Oh, and we're also going to talk about Batman. But Jordan and I both saw that. We'll keep it spoiler-free. Maybe we'll do another episode in the future after you all have a little bit more time to go out and watch the movie. You can join us back here for a spoiler-filled Batman review. But we'll keep it spoiler-free this time. And if we say any spoilers, we'll just bleep it out or something like that.
Right.
Hopefully not, because that's more editing for me. But before we get into the Batman, we need to cover what you got. And Jordan, I think we both have quite a doozy because it's been a while since we've recorded. So tell the people what you got.
Has been. So I think on the last one, maybe the one before that, but I had gotten the Walgreens exclusive thing, which you had told me about. And I think I talked about going down a road of assembling the Fantastic Four. So with that in mind, I got to getting a hold of the Walgreens exclusive Mr. Fantastic, courtesy of our friend and fellow Legends collector and trader, Rob Putney. Shout out to Rob for the hookup on Mr. Fantastic. He's interesting because he does have... They're made of seemingly similar material to the old Toy Biz, like stretchy arms where they've, I don't know what, where they got those little dots on them.
Mm-hmm. The
that
bendy
kind
wire
of thing going on. Sort of bendy, yeah. So, comes with two sets, regular arms and stretchy arms. I think the head sculpt is pretty good on this one. I think it's probably the best looking Mr. Fantastic that there is out right now. Assuming you don't want like the bearded one, if you just want a classic Mr. Fantastic, I think this one is the way to go if you can get your hands on him. Pun intended. I think he's pretty cool. I also have here the Human Torch, which is another part of my conquest, which now I have all four because you got me the Invisible Woman, Dakota. Human Torch is pretty cool. There's a little more detail on him than the retro that just came out, because I also have that one, which definitely, admittedly, is a bit cheaper. This one is definitely nicer, I think. But the other one has that more inherent, like, cartoony quality, where he's got, like, the drawn on, like, black lines. This one kind of has more of a more... I don't know if I'd say realistic, but kind of more, less comic booky. I think he fits in better, though, with the Walgreens team as a whole. So, that has been pretty exciting for me. I've got almost all of a Man-Thing in my hands. I'm just missing the torso. So we've got both arms, both legs, the head. So hopefully next time we're on here, he will be fully assembled.
And if you're listening to this, if you want to send Jordan a Man-Thing torso...
Yes, that'd be great. I'd love it.
We will give you the shout-out.
Yes, and I can have him go toe-to-toe, maybe make a little Swamp Thing, Man-Thing, defenders of the green display. I mean, I've picked up a lot of other stuff, too. Oh, I'm going to throw this one in here, because you got him for me, Dakota. You know what I know. It's a He-Man Masters of the Universe Battle Cat. Kind of ridiculous looking, but I think that's part of his charm and appeal. And my fiance actually said, "Well, do you have He-Man?" And I said, "No, I don't." So now I may have to track down He-Man to go with Battle Cat. So we'll see how that's going next time we check in.
True. And that's the vintage Battle Cat. So if you want the right scale, maybe the vintage He-Man. But if you're going for cooler action figures, you might want to go with one of the newer He-Mans, better articulated. I know you sent me a picture of one from Target today, and I think that would be the one to go with. The vintage ones don't have much articulation.
Yeah, so who knows? And then I think you said this, Dakota. Then I'm gonna need Skeletor, and then
And
it's
then
a slippery slope.
they're going to need a team to
So
fight each other. And
right. So we'll see where that goes. But that those are probably my most notable acquisitions as of late.
did you ever watch He-Man or anything like that?
As a kid, a little bit. I remember there was that revitalization they did in the early 2000s that I think I
Mm-hmm.
watched.
Okay.
Um, but I didn't follow it too closely. You?
See, now, I did. I watched that revitalization. I had a lot of those action figures from that era. And then, like, starting out, like, as I was really young, my uncle had all of the old He-Man action figures. So that's where I pretty much started playing with action figures, was with those. But I'm just excited. I'm going to try to really get you into this because we all hear my nonsense talk about figures I don't know much about. So I'm going to get Jordan into something that he doesn't know a lot about so we can all listen to him explain something.
That's well said. I like it.
Are you
Dakota.
concluding your what you got?
I mean I could keep going, but I'd probably be going for a while. I was just trying to pick out some of the
I'm
most.
surprised. I'm surprised that you didn't mention you got your Walmart
Oh
exclusive.
yeah, that's true. That's true. Well, he's out in the living room on a shelf right now,
Okay,
so I
well then
think I
it's a good thing
forgot to
I've
grab
got.
him.
It's a good thing I've got my Walmart exclusive Doctor Strange. Um, this one is better than I expected. I had the old Toy Biz Doctor Strange from the Galactus wave, and he was okay for the time. His cape was kind of cool. Like Jordan says, they had more of the rubber, but the rubber over time broke. I think you ended up with it. I don't know if you still have that cape or not. But this cape is, I think, out of all the Doctor Strange capes, because I've had a couple, like I picked up some for you and I've been to your place, and the MCU Doctor Stranges just seem to be restrictive with their capes, but this one you're still able to move his arms around, get him into some cool poses. He comes with the like little hand effects, kind of like I think they came with Dazzler. Not sure if they came with anyone else, but they worked pretty well for him. The parts that attach to his wrist are a little big, so you kind of have to balance them in his fingers. But yeah, really like the colors. He comes with a lot of accessories. He comes with alternate hands, 3 heads, an axe, the staff. I think that's it. But yeah, lots of cool stuff. Get him on a flight stand, and he's super fun. So happy about that pickup. Another one that you and your fiance don't understand my obsession with, but I picked up some more Steel Mutants, some of the small die-cast X-Men. So this one I got Cable and Strife, which I actually got Strife when we went to the toy show in Cedar Rapids, but he didn't have his cape, so this one is complete. So I picked him up. Maybe I'll end up selling my other Strife. Not sure there's a huge market for Steel Mutants, but I'm sure somebody out there will need them.
So
Um,
will you the ones you showed us just now were in package? Are those going to
yeah,
be opened or are they staying that
no,
way?
they'll definitely be open. I mean, the package is holding on by a thread, so um, I'll open those up and then I'll put them. I'm looking at just closets, and then I'll put them on the kind of the door jamb up above that, or whatever you call the trim around the closet door. Um, Back when I was a kid, again, one of the people that taught me the most, or like had the most conversations with me about superheroes and got me super interested, always let me borrow their comic books. Rex, that lived just down the street from my grandparents, that's where he had his Steel Mutants up on his closet trim area. They balance up there. So creating my own little collection up there in honor of Rex. So still got a few more to go. And then there's all the Web of Steel Spider-Man characters. The downside with those is like every single 2-pack comes with a different Spider-Man.
So you just got a million Spider-Man
Exactly.
figures. Yeah.
Right. So those ones I would like to find loose, but if not, I'll survive. Another cool one that I got was we got a lot together and we're flipping some of that. Maybe we'll do a episode on flipping figures, getting a lot so that you get the ones that you want for really cheap, and then you're able to get rid of the other ones. This is one that I wasn't expecting on wanting to keep, but I got a customized, probably the first custom I've ever had that is really good quality, but this is Venom. So they took the movie Venom and they painted kind of a blue and black paint over the just solid black that comes on the movie Venom, and then they painted the Venom logo on the front and the back. Looks really good. Yeah, this is super good Venom. Big fan of it. I can see why people really like that figure. Good articulation. Then I also got kind of like year branching into the He-Man universe. I branched into the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle universe. Let's see. Hatch Tar. Did a trade with him. I'll grab. This one is my favorite out of all of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle figures that I got. This is Chrome Dome. He's kind of on the same scale as Swamp Thing, so he's a little bit bigger, but he's got the best articulation out of all the ones that I have so far. So I've got Wingnut and Screwloose and Metalhead, and those are all super good looking, but their articulation is lacking quite a bit. But Chrome Dome is kind of more on the scale of Legends with his articulation, so he's a little bit more fun to pose around. He comes with a ray gun, a computer, 2 swords, tons of hands, so he's fun. Another surprise that I got, so I got 2 things from Roberto. I got Negative Man to go with my DCUC collection. He's another one that I could maybe make up some fun, crazy backstory. Don't know much about him, but he's DCUC and cool looking. But I also got with him the Storm from the Thunderbird and Storm 2-pack. So this is kind of like the giant size X-Men look where, I don't know, it's just, I wasn't expecting so many things to come with her. She came with different hands, 2 head sculpts, and 2 different capes. And then she's also got the hands that I have on her now where she's got the lightning coming out of her fingertips. Pretty cool figure. I was surprised because it's one of those cheaper 2-packs that Thunderbird goes for really cheap and the Storm goes for usually pretty cheap, but I'm not sure why, because I have Thunderbird previously. He's a pretty cool figure, and then the Storm is even cooler, and to come with 2 capes, 2 heads, just tons of stuff. Not sure why people are passing on her. Sticking with the DCUC theme, I'm just showing you everything I got.
Yeah, rightfully
we got
so.
2 more DCUCs. Got Dr. Impossible, who is, I believe, a variant to Mr. Miracle. It's kind of on the same, I'm pretty sure it's the exact same figure, just different paint. And then I don't think they came with the same accessories. I think Mr. Impossible came, or whatever. The other one came with like shackles. This one I think just came as is, and I don't even remember what her name is. Shazam lady.
Mary Marvel.
Mary Marvel, because I get her now confused with the Black Hammer story, because I just imagine her running around yelling Zafram.
Golden Gale.
Exactly.
That's what we need, are some Black Hammer figures.
That's true. That would go well on your shelf. Real quick, I got 3 of these Maximum Carnage. These are going to go well with the Null and Venom 2-pack, if that's what's actually coming. Before I got these, I was on the fence about Null. I think I've been pushed over the edge because my Carnages need a null. Those were from Victor Diaz. And then last, but certainly not least, got to grab him off the shelf. From Lewis Roman, who actually helped you complete your Onslaught. He sent you a leg, I think, for free, although it took like 2 months to get here because of the post office. But
Oh, right. Yeah.
I also did a trade with him where I got Spawn with the mace, which is kind of cool. This is kind of the best regular Spawn we have right now. And I guess maybe other than the Kickstarter, but cool that he comes with a mace. There's also other versions that come with a sword or an axe, but I like the mace version because that's my coaching business, is coaching with a steel mace. So now I've got a Spawn who also has a steel mace. His just has a lot more spikes than mine does. And in that same trade, I was able to acquire Bishop, who I have been searching for a long time now. He's a little bit higher on the secondary market. He's been out for quite a while. He came with a Sauron Build-A-Figure wave, so that was before we really got back into collecting a ton, but pretty good figure. I think he's about the same size as Cable. I haven't had them next to each other. I actually just took him out of the package before we started. But yeah, pretty cool figure. I really like his colors, cool costume. And then last but not least, pull him off the wall here. We've got the Series 1 Captain America. So we've got the new Captain America on pre-order, so he should be coming out shortly. I know you've got this entire wave loose.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
I think I'm going to keep my Captain America in the box, and I'll maybe display those next to each other when I get them. I'll definitely be taking the new Captain America out of the box, but this one's not going to display as well as the new one, so he'll stay up in his plastic prison. I do really like his display that he comes with, his busted up tank and the paper flag. That's a pretty cool base. So maybe he'll come out eventually, but for now, I think that's where he's going to stay. And then I guess last, but kind of segueing into a later portion of the show, I went to the early showing of the Batman movie where they gave out these Long Halloween #1 special edition comics. So I was able to pick one up for myself, one for Jordan, and then one for one of my Steel Mace students that was actually the one that got me Kitty Pryde up there on the shelf that I showed off in a previous What You Got. I think with all that now being said, that concludes my What You Got, and that was all that I got.
Dakota's bank account is, well, I don't know. Maybe he had some. Maybe a lot of those were trades.
Yeah, most of them were trades. I think only
I'm
maybe
just messing with you.
God, maybe 2 or 3 of them were purchases.
Yeah. No, that's good, man. That's good. I need to set aside time to reinvigorate my displays because I've got some ideas now that I have all the Fantastic Four, and I've got I think I counted I've got about 12 or 13 Doombots now.
Oh my goodness.
So now that I have all those, I can finally make my ultimate dream come true: Fantastic Four versus the Doom Army, and then yeah, I'll have to figure out once what I'm gonna do with Doctor Strange stuff, because now we've got several of those, and as anticipation builds, but I got the Riddler from the Mcfarlane, the Batman, which I like. It's a pretty good figure. So, oh, and I got the Bat Cycle. That's another one that I have that I like both of those quite a bit. So, and I'm waiting on the black and red statue, the Mcfarlane 12-inch. Got that one pre-ordered. So, that one will proudly be displayed behind me as soon as I have it.
Nice. And so now that maybe we're getting ahead of ourselves into the movie talk, but now that you've seen the movie, do you think you're going to go get Catwoman now?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know if I necessarily need to. That's probably the only one I'd be tempted to get. I think the other variations of, basically just getting another figure with a different head sculpt doesn't really appeal to me, so I think I'm good on the Batmans. I'd think about it. Maybe I might wait till we hopefully get some clearance action going on, but we'll see.
Find a sale and snatch her up.
There you go.
Make it so that it's too cheap that you can't afford not to buy it.
It'd be irresponsible not to get it at that
Exactly. All right. So let's go ahead and cover what we're going to be seeing soon from Mcfarlane. Speaking of those Batman figures, we're a little late on some of these reveals, and a couple of them are a little bit more recent, but since we don't cover Mcfarlane too often, we went ahead and let it build up. But we'll cover the Spawn first. Spawn is one that I get, obviously, from my What You Got. I've got my Spawn display up behind me. This announcement, I was kind of happy, kind of disappointed, because I was happy that I'm not going to have to break the bank and try to find all of these figures, but also a little disappointed because, there's always figures that you wish were going to be a part of the wave that were left out, but I guess that just means we get to look forward to those in the future. But those figures that are going to be coming out for the Spawn line are going to be Haunt. He's kind of like a white and black symbiote Spawn. He just came into the line recently, since I've started reading it, and it's like it was a priest that died and is now a ghost, and he helps his brother who's Haunt, or maybe it's the other way around. It's kind of confusing, but is a cool looking character. I'm going to pass on him, I think, just because he's got kind of the half mask going on. If it was a full mask and a different, he's kind of got that same diaper look that Nightwing has. If it weren't for those two things, I think I would get him. But because of those reasons, I don't think I'm going to be picking him up, unless maybe I find him on that crazy clearance that it's just irresponsible not to buy. But one that I am going to be picking up is the Ninja Spawn. This is one that hasn't been in the books since I've been reading, but you don't need to have read a book to know that this figure looks cool. I think this was one that you said you would actually be tempted by out of all these. But he comes with some cool weapons. And yeah, that one's one I'll probably pick up. Next one that I am on the fence about is, I'm calling it the King Spawn, but it's Spawn sitting on a throne. It seems like that's kind of what the King Spawn storyline is building to, is Spawn taking up the Malbosia's throne in Hell, kind of becoming the king of the underworld. This one's interesting because Spawn comes with like parts of a cape so that he can sit down in his throne. So he's got like his big collar, and then he's got kind of the cape at the very bottom, so it looks like he's sitting on his cape, but obviously if you had a big cape, it wouldn't sit in a throne very well. So I think that was a unique idea for Mcfarlane to do. It just stinks that if you don't have a regular Spawn, now your Spawn just doesn't have a cape. So that's why I ended up getting this Mace Spawn. And now that I have that, I don't know that I need a Spawn with a throne, but we'll see. Maybe if I find him at a good price, a little bit cheaper than, because I think he's the $40 mark. It's kind of how these lines have been going, where they put out a couple at the $20 to $25 mark, one at $40 and one at $50. So the $50 one for this line is going to be Overkill. This is another one that I'm going to pass on. This looks like the current version of Overkill. I'm only on like issue 30 maybe of the original line where Overkill first comes in. If he was like that, I probably would get him. But this one looks like the Overkill that's already been beat up by Spawn a million times and brought back to life, kind of zombified a little bit. So not one that I think I'll get, but definitely a giant figure. He'd go well with your Violator and Cygor if you have those bigger ones. But anything you got on the Spawn stuff, Jordan? I know it's not really near and dear to your heart.
I know it's not. Yeah, I agree. I think I thought the the ninja one was cool looking. That's one that I would be like, you know, interested. Um, but as outside of that, until you get me hooked on the Spawn comics, which hopefully I'll get around to before too long, I will leave the Spawn uh, collecting in your wheelhouse. But I will. Who knows? You know, I'm dabbling in He-Man, so
Anything's possible.
anything's possible at that point. Oh, that's good. Yeah.
Yeah, and then I guess
Very
the
cool.
last Spawn thing, he sort of teased a medieval Spawn, which was one that I had on my list of figures that I was hoping would come out this year. So that's kind of exciting. I'm not sure if it's going to be a Kickstarter. It seemed like it was going to be a Kickstarter. I think that was like the Shield tease, was him saying it's time to do another one of those. So if that's the case, I wasn't around for the first round, so probably one that I would get. We'll see. I guess what it looks like, it's going to come with a ton of accessories and weapons. But yeah, moving on from there, we'll get into the DC releases, which are a little more up Jordan's alley. Although I'm not sure too many of these are on his hit list, but we'll run through those and then maybe stop every so often to see if any of them have caught Jordan's eye. But the first two that were announced were The Flash from the CW, I think the most current season. I don't think they've done a CW Flash before, but we've gotten several other Mcfarlane Flashes. I forgot to put my animated Flash in my background. I had all the other animated figures behind me, but I'll have to go find him. Got Batman, Cyborg, Superman, and Harley Quinn back there. And then Flash would be the other one other than the black version of Superman, but didn't pick him up. And then going along with that Flash theme, the other, or I guess the earlier announcement was Godspeed. So that's like a white and gold Flash suited character. This one is interesting to me. Not a character I know, but it looks cool. So what do you think, Jordan?
Yeah. I thought I remember seeing, maybe it was just a mock-up, but the CW Flash having a kind of weird looking like thing going on with his torso. It was kind of like, I don't know. I saw people were kind of upset about it, where he had like, it looked really weirdly sculpted. Maybe I saw a like prototype photo or something, but
Mm-hmm.
um, I don't know. I mean, I have to imagine there are people who would want, because is Godspeed, is that from the show or is that a comic
I haven't been
figure?
watching the show
Okay,
since probably
I have, right.
since Flashpoint.
Yeah. Um, I don't know. I mean, I think there is a big following for the Flash, and I think a lot of people like the show. So I think that makes sense to put out. Because isn't that coming to an end, or am I thinking of Supergirl? Who knows?
I have no idea.
I think Supergirl was ending, but I lost track of the DC shows a while
Mm-hmm.
ago. So sure, I mean my hope would be eventually they get around to doing some cool Smallville figures.
That would be maybe
I
during
was a
like an
big
anniversary.
I was a big Smallville fan, and they're supposed to be doing a animated series like sequel. So hopefully, if they drum up interest, you could get. Of course, Superman didn't wear his suit in those, but you could still get the figures, and um, they had their own renditions of like Doomsday and
Right.
Brainiac, and so I think those would be fun.
Yeah. All right. Getting into the next releases that they had were Batman, I believe it's Duke Thomas. This is one that I have always thought looks really goofy. I think it's supposed to. He's like wearing a knight's helmet, but for some reason to me, it's always looked more like a parrot's beak or just giant teeth. But this figure also comes with a guitar, so I don't know what the deal is with all these Batmans with guitars. But apparently, Batman likes to rock out in a knight costume. I don't know. I would say I would have to read the story to figure it out, but that just doesn't intrigue me. Do you know anything about this, Jordan?
I don't, man. I mean, I read the like Dark Knight heavy metal or whatever it was, and it just seems like that idea was successful, so they kind of have stretched it into as much milking as much money as they can out of the multiple versions of Batman, which I guess at some point he has a guitar, which
This is the
I don't
second
know.
figure that we've gotten now with a guitar.
Right. Yeah. So your guess is as good as mine, to be quite honest. Um, I would like to just let our imaginations run wild as to what the Batman guitar storyline. I feel like whatever it is, it would be a disappointment to whatever's in our heads. So
I think
probably
that's very
leave it
true.
that way.
I agree. The next Batman figure that was announced was Batman.
Batman with a trombone.
Close.
Superman with a
Batman.
clarinet.
I think they should give Batman with like a cowbell. It would make just as much sense.
Uh,
Batman from Earth 22, which is the infected Batman. Kind of, I think they maybe announced also that there's going to be a the Bat Who Laughs dressed up as Batman coming out too. So that's what I originally thought this was, but um, I don't think so. It's just a Batman who's kind of infected with that Joker laughing gas. I think his bat symbol actually glows in the dark. Maybe his cape and batarang too. So that's kind of a fun touch, but how many Batmans does one person need? I don't need this Batman. But if you want to know figures that you just make no sense, next up is the Joker Dragon. So I love that these figures are being made because we live in a time where just anything is possible.
yes.
And Joker as a dragon is another one. I don't really want to know what the story is there. It's just an alternate universe where Joker is a dragon. Um, it looks like kind of a boring figure to me, but that's also because I don't know anything about the story. It's just a really long snake-looking thing with the Joker face. What do you think, Jordan? He's going on his shelf?
No, that one's gonna be a pass from me. Um, although I am intrigued by the Two Face Pegasus that's coming out.
That'd be fun. Yeah, we
It,
they sh-
it just it almost feels like it's like obviously you can't fault McFarlane because they're just making what the toys, the comics are doing. But it just feels like it's like there's like a wheel being spun, where like one has names of heroes and villains, and then one just has random things. It's like do 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 Batman and guitar. All right, let's do it. Joker and dragon. Sounds good. It's just like I don't know. Who knows? Maybe our listeners are like, these are awesome storylines. You should read them. Maybe. Um, but until somebody pitches me Batman with a guitar or Joker as a dragon successfully, I'm gonna have to pass on all these.
I agree. I just love the fact that they're there. They're not ones that I'm
Right.
gonna find on my shelf, but I am happy that other people are happy to have them. And
More power to them.
exactly. I mean, if that's the thing is if you were really big into the DC stories and you're getting all the characters you could ever hope for. I guess I don't. Maybe you're not, but you're getting these obscure figures. So I mean, Who would have guessed that when we started collecting to now, these are the figures that we'd be seeing on Target and Walmart shelves. But now getting into some figures that are maybe a little more possible to see on at least my shelf. We've got the Batman Zur-N-R. Kind of looks like just a...
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not sure how to say it exactly, but it's the purple and yellow Batman from the Batman R.I.P. story.
Yeah.
I don't think I'll go with this one. I think the other one was previously announced. This is the unmasked version. I don't have any interest in an unmasked superhero. I might get the masked one. This one is, I think, a Mcfarlane exclusive or something like that. But I think you have to buy like all the figures in the wave. Maybe that's this one. But yeah, I don't know. Anything you got there, Jordan?
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. I think in the comics it was like a backup repressed personality or something that
Right.
Batman developed as like a safeguard.
Yeah.
Because something happens like his memory or gets wiped, so like it's almost like he has like a backup file in his brain and he becomes this. I believe it's something where it was some goofy plot line in the 60s that they tried to like I guess reinterpret it to be like, how do we make sense of this? So I always like it when writers kind of revisit older concepts that maybe were kind of goofy or simple at the time, but try to actually explain them in the universe. So, not one that I know a ton about, but
Right. Yeah, I had gotten
definitely,
that story
yeah.
when I was younger, and I remember reading it the first time through, and he's like fighting the black glove or the black hand or something like that, and it just like it seems like all of a sudden it switches and he's like a purple and yellow Batman, and as a kid I was like, I don't know what in the world is going on, and he starts talking to this like animated Batman Mxyzptlk kind of.
Oh, Batmite.
Yeah, Batmite. And I remember as a kid, I was just so confused by that story. I was like, it was good up until this point, and then I don't know what happened. But then, yeah, after rereading it, it is kind of like a backup of, in case Bruce Wayne's mind snaps, he becomes this other alternate personality. But I don't know. I think the colors are fun. Different Batman that I guess still doesn't make sense to me, but it's one that at least looks good enough to possibly put on my shelf. And I've at least read that story, even though maybe I don't completely comprehend it. I've read it. So the next one.
That's what counts.
The next
Credit
one
for trying.
that we have is going to be one that I think I'm going to get is Ghostmaker. Now, unlike the previously mentioned Batman, this is one that I have not read anything about. I just think it looks cool. I'm assuming it's all plastic, but I think the sculpting on the pants are done so well that at first when I saw it, I thought that was actual fabric. It's got a cool looking helmet, I think. I don't remember if you said you didn't like the helmets. I know my wife wasn't a big fan of it. But I like it. I think it's going to be on my shelf. I don't know if you got anything to add on him.
No, man. I don't even know if I can picture this one in my head. Just I don't remember what it looked like. But was he like the ninja looking guy?
Yeah, he's like the white ninja with the baggy
All right.
pants and a
Yeah,
cape.
yeah. You know, I might need to get a ninja because I bought a lot recently for real cheap. And in there is a Snake Eyes from G.I. Joe. So if that one's cool, I might go down a slippery ninja slope.
There you go.
I mean, at that point, I could just have like an 80s shelf where you have like Snake Eyes with He-Man.
True.
You know,
You're going to need an Optimus Prime.
Optimus Prime.
Get some Thundercats.
Some Thundercats. It's have them like fighting the Marvel heroes. That'd be kind of fun. Or, you know.
I say do it.
Sky's the limit. Yeah. Ghostmaker. I'll do some research on them.
All right, next up, Man Bat. That's one
Ooh.
I'm on the fence about. It's a bigger figure, so it's going to be a little more expensive. Same with this be in the same price range as Swamp Thing. Um, I like Man Bat. I actually have my old Man Bat from the Batman cartoon. So it's the white one with the kind of the plasticky wings. But this you had this as a kid, and I was always a big fan. Always jealous that you had it. So I found him kind of recently. But this other one is a lot more,
Comic like.
yeah, more
Comic
comic.
inspired. He's got the blue jeans and he's more brown, right? The brown
Right.
bat
Yep.
with the red eyes, and yeah. I think this one looks really cool. I mean, out of all these figures, this is the one I would be most tempted to get, just
Right.
because you know how I love my monsters and giant vampire man bat. It's right up my alley. So I don't know. We'll see, but I could be sold on this one.
Yeah. I think this is one that I probably will end up getting. I might wait for like a Target Circle 20% off one action figure type of deal, just because it's on the pricier side. But yeah, I agree. This one is one that definitely looks the coolest. I'm a little more tempted by Ghostmaker and the Batman just because they're on the like $20 side, not the $40 side. But yeah, definitely a cool figure. I do wish his wings were articulated instead of just being always folded up. I'd be surprised if they're ever going to do like a gold label or platinum label. I know McFarlane likes to do those where you give small differences, and maybe that one's going to have wings flared out. But that's what I liked about the old one, was that it was like that movable plastic that you could kind of collapse them or have them flared out. Next figure on the list, Killer Croc. I'm going to pass on him. It's the Gamerverse version. I imagine you're going to do the same, Jordan.
Probably.
We'll blow past that one because we don't really have much more for that. We got to get other things. We're going a little bit long. Next up was a glow-in-the-dark Batman Beyond. This one I thought looked pretty cool. It's kind of like when it's in the light, it's got the white, but then the white turns to like the glow-in-the-dark green. I think that one looks pretty cool. It's what is it? Entertainment Earth exclusive, so I'm probably not going to get it just because I've never ordered from there before, and I don't need that Batman that bad, but I do think it looks pretty fun. I know a lot of the Funko Pop collectors like the glow in the dark, so
I know you complain a lot about losing your toys in the dark when
right.
you're playing, so that would help you out.
I'd be able to keep better track of my toys.
You know those times where you call me and you're like, Jordan, I can't find my toys. I'm like, did you try turning the light on? And then you turn the light on and you see them, but you know you can just skip one step and find them in the dark.
Exactly. And then the
That's
last
an
figure that we
interesting
just
creature.
had announced today, actually, I think, is a Hush. And this is one, I just put this on the story, our Instagram story at the Strong Collectors. This is one that you had as a child and lent to me. I read it. I gave it back to you. You said that was a great experience being able to share a story with a friend. You lent it to someone else, and then you never saw it again.
Mm-hmm.
But I know for
Yeah,
sure I gave you the book back.
yeah, I believe it. I've since acquired a new version of it, so don't worry because I still have Hush. It is one of my favorites.
It,
So
it
that
is
is another
very good.
figure that could tempt me because that's a very good storyline.
Yeah, I think you need that Hush, just for that
Thank you.
reason. It's it's a good
It's
story.
memorable.
Every time I think of that story, I think of you along with it. Um, and you need the figure to go with the memory.
Rightfully so.
All right, that wraps up all of the McFarlane releases. Now, Jordan, let's talk about Batman and
Batman
keep
in a
yourself.
spoiler-free fashion.
Yes, exactly.
I guess I'll come right out of the gate. I've seen the Batman twice now. I have loved it both times. I think somebody it it seems like for the most part people are responding well to it, which I'm glad. I mean, I'm a little surprised to be honest because it's like a, as we've discussed, it's a 3 hour movie, and it's definitely not like a toy commercial movie for
Hmm.
sure. There were, I think we were in the theaters and there were like even like young kids there that I'd be like, I don't know if these parents know what kind of Batman movie this is. Um, but I don't know. Maybe kids would enjoy it. But I'm rabbit trailing here. It's the tone is very detective based, which I really like. I've been wanting a detective Batman in a movie for a long time. I think Pattinson does a great job. I really think all the actors are pretty well cast. I think the music was good. I think um, I don't know. I mean, there are some small qualms I could have, but those would probably become spoilery. So
Hmm.
I will avoid those for now. But overall, I don't know. I might need to make a bold statement, Dakota, and say it's my favorite Batman movie.
Even better than The Dark Knight.
I mean, it's hard to assess because this Batman movie would not exist, of course, without everyone. Because the way this movie was made, I don't think it's a spoiler to say it kind of jumps past the whole origin stuff and you just get right into it.
Right.
Which you really couldn't do without these other Batman movies that have built up the character in the public consciousness, so to speak. So it's hard to say, but it's probably the Batman, at least I would say, that I've enjoyed the most, and that I am most excited to see this world continue. Whether it's sequels or there's talk of HBO. I think they announced recently like an Arkham Asylum
Interesting.
centric show, which I think would be cool. Um, yeah, I'm really excited.
Yeah.
I mean,
And
I know some of your thoughts, but what did you think?
yeah, I mean, I don't know if I can say it's my favorite Batman movie because I really did like The Dark Knight. That was one that I think I saw for the first time in theaters with you. I think we went with it was you, me, my dad. I think your brother John and Tim came. Um, but yeah, I think that one like that might be one of my favorite movies all time. So that's a hard one to beat. But I will say that I think that Robert Pattinson is my favorite Batman. I think that Christian Bale was a better Bruce Wayne. But I did really like this Batman, and I mean, again, I don't think it's a spoiler, but this was definitely a Batman movie, where I think maybe they'll develop the Bruce Wayne character in the next if there are more. But you really don't see much of Bruce Wayne in this, and it's just all Batman. I know they kind of pulled a lot of elements from the Long Halloween storyline, and that's probably my favorite Batman story. So I was happy about that. It doesn't really follow the story directly, but it kind of has that same feel, where they start to bring in like some of the gangsters like um, Falcone and Maroni, where they kind of did that with the Christian Bale Batmans, but it was just a little bit more um, in the forefront of this one.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
but I will say that does kind of get confusing. Like my wife, who's not as nerd as us, she doesn't know all the characters as well. But when you start adding in regular people that aren't like dressed up like a clown or have two faces or have giant like a man bat, it's a little bit harder for the differentiation between characters of like, wait, which one is Maroni? Who's Falcone? Is that just a goon or is that an important person? Um,
Mm.
when they look a little more human, you're like, it's harder to differentiate them. Which I even have that problem when reading the books too, because you get different artists drawing different people and knowing who's talking when. But um, small gripe, not even really a gripe, but yeah, I thought it was really cool. There were some parts where I was like, that seemed a little unnecessary, but like super small parts. For being a 3 hour movie, I thought it went by super fast.
Sames.
I think the Batmobile was probably one of the cooler Batmobiles, like realistically and just really cool. I don't know. You go back to some of those older Batman movies where the Batmobile is just like crazy decked out. Um, I think those are fun, but I think this Batmobile makes a little bit more sense than the Christian Bale like tank driving through the city. Um, yeah.
And at
Um,
least do a little less property damage, probably.
exactly.
He saved the city, Batman, but he also destroyed it. So
You saved the city from the Joker, but in the
you,
process of doing so, you blew it up. But yeah, I mean, I thought, like you said, I think the casting was done really well. I think all the
hmm
characters seemed like they were who they should be. Um, I think Penguin was probably the coolest Penguin we've had. I mean, I've never been a big Penguin fan, but um, this one was pretty fun. Even same with like Falcone, like I said, it's like a gangster that you're not really going to care about too often, but they did a good job in this movie making him seem pretty cool, and you really like the character. So, and Catwoman I thought was a good choice. I'd never seen her in anything, or I don't think I have, but I really only watch superhero movies, so unless she's another superhero, then I haven't seen her. But she was good. Yeah, everyone was really well cast.
hmm yeah, we'll have to do a more maybe in-depth dive as maybe when I get my Batman statue, we can dive into some of this spoiler zone, I suppose. But um, yeah, I say if you haven't seen it, go check it out. Then
For
come
sure.
back here, and we'll talk all the spoiler details.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the appropriate time to wait for a spoiler episode is, but you know what? This is definitely a nerd centric podcast, and if you
Right.
haven't seen Batman yet, are you really a nerd?
That's right.
Maybe we'll give it a
What?
month, and then
Give it a
you can
month.
always skip the episode and come
Well,
back to it later.
we could do. I think in mid-April they're releasing it on HBO Max.
Okay,
So once it hits HBO Max, I feel like it should be fair game because it's like even if you can't get to the theater to see it, you can watch it at home now.
that's true.
So you know, I don't know.
Are there any
Very good.
figures that you think are going to be coming from the movie that aren't out yet?
I was thinking about that a little bit. I mean, I don't really think so.
Hmm.
The ones that I'm kind of surprised that we didn't get like a Gordon or an Alfred.
True.
I don't know why they're because I think they were in the movie enough.
Yeah.
Um, like I don't know why we got four versions of Bat. Like I get it, but
Right.
it's like you got Batman, then unmasked Batman, then Drifter Batman, then unmasked Drifter Bat. It's like okay. I mean, once again, Todd, just give us the double heads, man. Just give us two head sculpts. Save us from having to buy all these toys. No, yeah, I would like to see them. I don't really know who else you would have made into a figure though.
Yeah, I know. Well, that's getting a little spoilery. Never mind there. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, no, I think definitely Alfred makes a lot of sense because I don't think McFarlane's done an Alfred comic book or otherwise. So I think that would be one that people would respond well to. And yeah, Jim Gordon was in the movie quite a bit. So that would make sense. Another one that hasn't, I mean, even just like it'd be fun to get an animated version of Jim Gordon or a comic book version. But yeah, that's not a figure that I don't think I've ever seen a Jim Gordon action figure. I'm sure there is one, but um, yeah, I think those two would do really well. Maybe a Falcone, or I mean, even just like giving us some goons as like an army builder would be kind of fun.
Yeah.
Just some like thugs for Batman to beat up, or just like in general, like that would be good for even Marvel Legends to do just a general thug instead of having like the Skull or the Skrull
Mm-hmm.
Troopers or Hydra, just average everyday crook for Spider-Man to fight.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Anything else you have on the Batman movie, Jordan?
I mean, just go check it out. I don't think you'll regret it.
Right. All right. Well, that is going to do it for this episode of the Strong Collector Podcast. Remember, if you have not followed us on Instagram, go do that. We post up some of our what you gots, some cool figures. You can share with us the figures that you like. Let us know what you thought about the Batman movie, and we can chat about that. Whatever platform you're listening to, make sure you're following or subscribed. Rate the podcast. Tell your friends about it. Post it in the Facebook groups. Tell all the people you know so that we can reach more people and maybe have some pull in what kind of figures we get. Not sure if anybody has any pull in the figures we get, but let us think that we have some power. But yeah, until next time, stay strong.